Well, looks like you owe me, Gigi.
You got lucky this time, McCluck.
It's not luck. It's just understanding story structure. Hey, Commander Fennec here. And as McCluck predicted, we don't check in with Juliette this episode. Instead, we explore what happened in her silo when she did what no one else has done before, walked beyond the ridge. Actually, we as viewers didn't know the importance of this action, as it suggests to the people living in the silo that the air outside is safe to breathe.
Was a bit of a leap if you ask me. It could be a huge number of other factors, especially since it wasn't that long ago since the other sheriff went outside. And he didn't last long.
I don't think they're teaching critical thinking in the silo, Doc.
True, and in fact everything is regimented. Bernard the mayor even has to consult a Bible-like book to know what to do next, and it says quite clearly, in the event of a failed cleaning, prepare for war.
That's because the visor projects a false image of what's outside, prompting the cleaners to want others to see what they see, and so they clean the lens.
Except Juliette didn't.
And the special tape allowed her to survive and disappear from view.
And that's where the problem with containing the population lies. Now, this episode takes its time to show us the different factions that are emerging. Bernard weaves a lie to explain how Juliette managed to do the impossible, and it's thanks to a special tape the IT department invented.
Which isn't true, of course. It's the tape from Mechanical, which is of much higher quality. But, you see, that's the part of the story that doesn't make sense to me.
Which part exactly?
Well, he obviously knows what happened. He knows the tape was switched because he knows the tape they use for the cleaners is crap to get them to die quickly. So he gets Carla and Walker arrested, and as the deputy said himself, he needs to make a show of it. So we see Walker being paraded down the streets in handcuffs. But why? I guess he might need a fallback position in case his lie doesn't sell, but then why not arrest them covertly? Making a public show of arresting them only to release them shortly afterwards looks mighty suspect.
Yeah, that was indeed a weird thing to do. For myself, I had an issue with how the show portrays phobias and addictions, and how seemingly easy they are to get over. Mary Meadows, the new head of Judicial, has been an alcoholic for 25 years. Because she and Bernard both know the truth about what's actually going on, and likely the true history of the silo, and apparently both come from the other silo where everyone walked out and died.
Doesn't that remind you of the Fallout series? You know, people who control the silo are in fact from another secret silo and know more of what's going on?
Very much so, but I'm sure the similarities are superficial. Anyway, Mary's an alcoholic, but after seeing what happened, she decides not to be. Pours her drinks down the sink, and done. And if that wasn't bad enough, Walker's never left her room in 25 years. The absolute terror she felt at the end of the first season when she decided to go out to help Juliette was palpable. Her agoraphobia was very strong. Except it isn't now. She goes out with the sheriff, although granted she didn't have much of a choice there. But later she follows someone who leads her to a nascent rebel group. And she's not even hugging the walls or anything. It's like she's cured, just like that. Well, both could have relapses in the coming episodes. You're right, they could. Especially Mary, I'd imagine. But for Walker, it just feels too convenient.
Hang on a second. So Mary's been drinking for 25 years, and Walker's not walked out of her room in 25 years. Think there might be a connection?
Do you think these two and Bernard all come from the other silo? And that rebellion we saw last episode happened 25 years ago?
Care for another wager?
Oh, I've learned my lesson, thanks.
Suit yourself.
So, despite these points that don't really gel with me right now, I did like seeing a group of people that are on the verge of chaos, how those in charge are trying to contain the situation while various groups are forming because of what's going on.
Sounds like people are going to have to choose a side.
But we know what happened in the other silo. And it's kinda crazy to hope that those in charge manage to contain the situation to save the population from obvious destruction. It's indeed an interesting situation we find ourselves in. Now we better get back to seeing what Juliette's been doing next time.
Care to wager on that?